Hi, I'm Kaneez Surka, and I would put love juices in my immigrant jam.
We are back. It's another beautiful day at Immigrant Jam headquarters. It's another beautiful episode. Today, we have an incredible lady new to New York City from South Africa via India and back again. She's a comedian. She's a host. She's an actor. She's an improviser. You can see her on Netflix's Ladies Up, on Amazon, on YouTube, and now in New York City. Welcome, Kaneez Surka.
Thank you so much. What a great introduction, Lucie Paul. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for saying my name for once. You know, that really means a lot.
I feel like people who have been on this podcast have never said your full name. I have a feeling. I might be wrong.
No, you're right. You are the first person to ever say my full name.
Full name. Lucie Paul.
And from now on, that will be the precedent here at Immigrant Jam headquarters. Kaneez, you just moved to New York City.
I did. Thank you.
Welcome.
Sorry. Thank you for having me.
Yes, I do hold the key to New York City. So wait, you moved here
a month ago.
A month ago?
A month ago.
Wow.
Yeah, I was in South Africa just before I came here, like with my parents for a bit. And then this has been like a plan in like the works for over like 5 years. Mm-hmm. Because getting that O1 visa is not easy. If you're an immigrant and you want to immigrate to America, getting that O1. Can we look in the camera?
We can totally look in the camera. Of course. We should look in the camera.
Like really weird.
We're connecting to the jury.
That's your close-up.
Oh, there's another camera there. Oh my God. Hey.
Oh my God.
What up?
Hi.
What up, players?
Yeah, the O1 visa is a nightmare. I had to do 6 of those.
What?
Yeah.
Oh, but I thought you moved here when you were 8.
I know. I did. My parents are a mess.
Then that's why you're a comedian.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, it's hard because you have to, basically, it's the O1 visa is the Alien of Extraordinary Ability visa.
Great name.
Yeah, amazing name. Really a way to make you feel welcome, right? Hello, come in, but don't forget, you're green with antennas.
Exactly.
Like, what the hell?
You might have an extraordinary ability, but you're an alien.
Yeah. So you had to put together a whole file of all your reviews, of all your
testimonials,
recommendations from famous people, right?
Yep.
They want famous people.
Exactly.
Who'd you have?
That's a good question. Well, not okay, but I was like,
come on, who'd you have? Tell us, who'd you have?
Myself a letter. No, I'm kidding.
That's true. You are quite famous.
No. I mean, I feel like there's a difference between like famous and popular, being popular. I think a lot of comedians we're popular because amongst like a certain group of people.
Right. That's true.
I think that's what it is. Like I think fame and celebrityhood is a whole nother ball game.
There's a difference between having a good amount of fans and wearing Marilyn Monroe's dress to a party.
Doesn't fit you properly, which is no. That's, no, I
agree.
I didn't mean that.
I agree. No, we mean you didn't mean it.
I mean, as in, like, you know, if it doesn't, then you know,
if the shoe doesn't fit, take another shoe.
Take another shoe.
Take your own shoe, maybe.
Don't
take a shoe out of a museum.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a museum shoe. Yeah, leave the shoe in the museum.
That's exactly what I thought. I'm like, I get it. I love the ode to Marilyn Monroe, but anyway, shame. You know what? Let people do whatever they want to.
Let people do whatever they want.
Whatever they want to do.
So you say 5 years. So it's not like you were growing up dreaming of living in New York City your whole entire life. Because a lot of people have that.
I think, you know, when I was after university in South Africa, I mean, after school, I remember my dream was to, so there was no stand-up culture in South Africa when I finished school. But I was doing comedy. I was studying speech and drama at school, and I would always like get chosen to do the comedic roles in all the plays. So I knew that comedy was my forte, and my drama teacher even told me, like, it's in my report, she wrote, just remember that comedy is your forte, Kaneez.
And you were okay with that?
Yeah, I loved it. I really excelled at comedy, like all the comedy roles. Like I really shone. So I was like, this is definitely my jam. My immigrant jam. But there was no stand-up scene in South Africa, so I never thought of becoming a stand-up comedian. I thought I'd get into comedic acting. Like, that was the goal. So America definitely was the dream for that. And, you grow up everywhere in the world. I feel like everyone grows up on American content. So, like, that's your dream, to go to America and get a sitcom or be on a comedy show. But then I went to India because I didn't feel like I had it to make it in America. So, but it was there. Like, that dream did sort of find its roots back in, like, high school.
Right.
But I just didn't have the guts.
So you were born in South Africa and grew up in South Africa, and your parents are from India.
Correct.
And so they immigrated to South Africa.
Yes, during apartheid.
Why did they? Why South Africa?
And it's a great story, and I feel like I really ruin it every time I say it because my dad tells the story so well. But basically, it was during apartheid, and technically Indians were not allowed to move to South Africa because the passport said this passport is valid for any country in the world except South Africa. Like,
really?
Because they were boycotting South Africa and boycotting apartheid. And but my dad got this job offer. My mom met someone. She was working at a jewelry store, and she met a lady who was an ophthalmologist, and my dad's an ophthalmologist. And she said, we're looking for someone to take over in this homeland in South Africa. And a homeland, so South Africa had 7 homelands, and basically the white government tried to put all the black people into these homelands and made them semi-governing, so they could live their own lives in these homelands and not in, that wasn't part of South Africa really, like technically. Or
Right.
So she was like, we're looking for someone to take over my job because I'm leaving. And my mom was like, oh my gosh, tell my husband about this. And then they just went through this whole like procedure, try to figure out how to get to the Transkei, which is what the homeland's name is. Also where Nelson Mandela was born, in the Transkei. Also where Trevor Noah's grandmother comes from, so if anyone's wondering.
Yeah, I read that. Mtata?
Yes, Umtata.
Mtata?
Yeah. And so my parents ended up there, and because it wasn't technically part of South Africa, but they were kind of allowed to be there. And they were like one of the first FOB, fresh off the boat Indians in South Africa. South Africa had a lot of Indians that came generations before, but my parents were one of the few Indians from India because they weren't allowed during that period of like 15, 20 years. Indians weren't allowed to come to South Africa.
And why did they want to leave India? Was it just a better job? Was it just exciting?
Just the dream of like, I guess the Western dream.
Right.
I want to say American dream, but I think my dad actually wanted to come to America, but that didn't work out. So he was like, South Africa sounds like an interesting place.
And they came with or without children? Do you have
my
brothers
brother.
and sisters?
Yeah,
okay.
I've got 2 older brothers.
Okay.
So they came.
So they moved to this sort of like segregated
rural
part of the country.
Yeah.
And were they accepted? I'm guessing there were no other Indians, right?
There were other Indians who had come via Zimbabwe and Zambia. Like, it's such a complicated way to get to South Africa. So there were like maybe 2 or 3 other Indian families. But my dad was also a doctor, and he lived in the hospital complex. So he was part of the medical fraternity. So at least they found that tribe initially.
And your mom didn't work?
Not at the time. No,
Okay.
She was like, moving to a new country and looking after my brother. And she was pregnant with my second brother at the time.
So then when you started going to school, you went to school there in that area? And I'm guessing by then there weren't any more Indian kids either, right?
Yeah,
there were other Indian kids?
There were a few. Again, there were a few Indian families. But I went to an all-white school. And the only brown people in that school were the expatriates, which were us, some Ugandans, some Ghanaians. So
people who worked for the government,
or worked again, doctors,
right.
Anyone from out of South Africa. So any person of color from out of South Africa, had admission in the school, and white people. That's it.
Did you grow up Indian?
Yeah.
Like, was that your identity? Were you like, I'm Indian, or did you feel South African?
Oh, you see, that's thank you, Lucie. What a great question.
There was an opportunity I was going to say my full name.
We practiced this before we started recording.
We did.
Yes, I did grow up feeling Indian. But like my parents also did this thing where a lot of immigrant parents, maybe I'm wrong, but maybe I know a lot of Indian immigrant parents get really worried that their kids will lose their culture and try to like inculcate their culture as much as possible. And they get scared when they assimilate to the Western culture. But for some reason, my parents tried to make sure we did assimilate. Because in their head, they were like, if the more white you can become, the more chances you have of survival.
Right.
Of like achieving and getting higher in life.
Right.
So I think like they really wanted us to adopt try to adopt and assimilate to the white South African culture. So that's I'm very heavily influenced by that culture. But I did grow up Indian. It's not like they strayed completely away from our culture. But
Right. And you're also Muslim.
Yes.
So again, minority, because I read that your background is Gujarati,
Yes.
right? And so
you
you're
did such great, thank you. This is good research.
yes, I do
really
want.
appreciate
I do have my eyes on Christiane Amanpour's job. Also a name I enjoy saying.
Christian.
Fully. Oh yeah, it's Christian, isn't it?
What is it? No.
Christian Amanpour? Christiane Amanpour?
I don't even know who you're talking
Christian.
about. Should I know who this is?
There you go, Christiane Amanpour. Fuck
feel
you.
terrible.
No one even knows you anyway. She's like a reporter, a journalist.
My bad.
No, so being Muslim and Gujarati, the Muslims are a minority there, no?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, that's my big thing about, like, people are always like, you're not Gujarati, you're Muslim. And I'm like, your religion and your ethnicity are two different things. Like, your nationality and your religion are two different things. I don't know why people seem to think that if you're Gujarati, you're Hindu automatically. I'm
Right.
like, you can be from a place and be a different religion. Religion doesn't have... like, I can't be from Muslim. There's no countries. I know there are Muslim countries, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you can be any religion in any country.
But so did your family have this like innate sense of being outsiders? You know what I mean? Was that something you grew up with already before moving from before growing up in South Africa as an Indian family?
Yeah.
Is that something sort of they internalized? Because I know that my family being German and Jewish, and that sort of was like already in the DNA, you know, this like outsider-ism.
Right,
just being something else.
Of course.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. And it was also like for the Indians in South Africa, we were also outsiders for the Indians because we were so fresh.
Right.
I was the first generation Indian. So like for a lot of South Africans, like, yeah, I do feel sometimes, I mean, I know I'm from South Africa, but when I speak to other South Africans, sometimes I feel like they're more South African than me. And I'm like, but I am South African, right? Like I was born and, you know, brought up there. And I don't know, but sometimes I don't feel like I'm completely South African. And I feel the same way about being Indian. I don't always feel like I'm completely Indian. I feel like I'm almost like a fake version of South African and a fake version of Indian.
Yeah.
That's what it feels
Is that
like.
sad for you, or do you like that?
I know I said it in a very sad way.
No. Because I think that for me, having this like cross-cultural identity, or like an identity that's not tied to a passport or one place, you know, I have a very similar experience. I was born in Germany and I was 8 when we moved here. I speak German like a native German speaker. I have a German passport. I don't feel German. I don't wouldn't say I'm American either, you know, or any of the other things. I'm not religious, but Jewish. My background's Jewish, and by, I guess, culturally. So, and I know that for a long time that I suffered because I wanted to like belong somewhere, and I always was drawn to people that were like had like a very strong national identity.
Yes.
Nazis. I always loved Nazis.
I was like, you can
love me a Nazi. No. No, but you know what I mean? Like when I was a kid, I always had friends that were like very, you know, I don't know, very Greek or like very German or very this or very that, because I always thought that was so cool.
That they identified with one, you know, thing.
And they have this thing. They know it. It's like unshakable and that's unquestionable. It's like, yeah, I'm this. Of course I am. And they fly a flag and they do it with pride. And I'm like, ugh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know which flag to fly.
And I'd like... in soccer, I'd always support like Cameroon and then like, or like whoever I thought was, you know, when I was a kid, I always supported Cameroon and then Italy, and then I had a Greek boyfriend, so it was Greece. And I was always like as patriotic as the people from that country supporting that team. But, you know.
That's exactly it. Like with cricket, people are like, who do you support, South Africa or India? And I'm like, when I'm in South Africa, I support India. And when I'm in India, I support South Africa. I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, I don't care about cricket. Oh my God, there goes the likes.
What the hell is cricket anyway? Cricket's not a thing. It's a beetle.
It's a beetle.
It's an insect.
It's an insect, guys.
Guys, cricket.
Put it back in your pants. Calm down.
Yeah, exactly. Relax. Is that cricket, or are you happy to see me? I don't know what that means at all.
Oh, man.
Cricket is the one. No, we're not going to get into it. Cricket, I do want to get into it.
Okay,
cricket
sure.
is the one.
Oh, my God.
Wait, which one is the one that's like football but not?
What?
Which one's that?
Cricket's like baseball, but
Cricket's like baseball, but
bat.
with the basket. They have a basket on their bat, right?
What? No,
isn't that cricket
no.
with the basket? Mike
oh my God!
Looking at me like I'm insane.
I think you're thinking of highlight. Those are
What?
highlight.
I think of lacrosse.
Maybe lacrosse. Yeah. Which one has a basket on the bat?
Lacrosse has a
I need that for my
I don't know
shopping.
what you're referring to.
Lacrosse has a net,
Yes.
and highlight is like a big basket that you scoop up. That's indoors though.
No, there's one that has like
Lacrosse.
a thing and then a basket at the end.
Lacrosse.
Yeah,
And then
Throw
people
things.
are chucking it
Yes,
like soccer,
yes.
but with
Yes.
a net and ball.
Yes. Cricket is the one that's like baseball.
Yeah, so it's got there's a cricket bat and a ball.
Let me ask you this question as an
fielders.
immigrant, because my boyfriend was making fun of me. When you hear the word hockey, what do you think?
I think of like grass, hockey on the
Yes,
grass.
exactly.
Yeah.
Think you. Americans
No, I don't think of ice. Then
think
call
it means automatically it means ice hockey.
say ice hockey.
Then say ice hockey.
Say ice hockey, and then there's
Yeah.
grass hockey.
Exactly. Grass hockey was the first hockey.
Yes, grass
and then
hockey
you
was the
came up with
first.
ice hockey.
Don't try to claim hockey.
Don't
for your ice hockey
Exactly.
sport.
Yeah, we're not going to
We're putting
accept that. Okay.
But done.
The hockey thing is dead.
It's done.
Okay, I'm glad we
ends here.
cleared
It ends here
that up.
on this podcast.
There was two guys talking about going to a hockey game, and I was like, "Oh, cool!
cool.
You're going to a hockey
Is
game?
it on grass? Is it on turf?
Where?
Like where?
And they were like, Madison Square Garden. I was like, "Oh, ice hockey!" And then everybody roasted me for like half an hour. They were like, "Who
Classic.
thinks of grass hockey when they talk about hockey?"
Classic.
Classic. Okay, so basically, you are saying no. It's not sad for you. Or did you ever have a time where it was sad for you, or were you always? Is that something your parents instilled in you to be proud of that you're many different things, or?
And that's the thing. They also try to instill that culture of assimilating to wherever you are, right? Assimilate to that culture. Like that's what. So, yeah, like I am proudly Indian, of course, and I'm proudly South African as well. And I just said that right now, and I felt more proudly South African.
Oh, the mystery is unraveling.
Join us on the second episode to find out.
Exactly. Are you proudly South African or proudly Indian?
No,
What's
but
like a comfort? Like, where do you go to food wise?
Indian food.
Indian food.
Indian food. And then
The
there's like
best
some South African stuff that I like rusks. Do you know what rusks are?
Crackers?
They're like bread that's been put in the oven, and then you can dip in your tea, so it hardens.
Oh, you
And
dip bread in your tea?
Like it's like sweet bread,
Wow.
and it hardens, and you can dip in your tea. It's
That's
the
a real
best.
fuck you to the British. They're like, fuck you. We're putting bread in our tea, motherfuckers.
Come to our country. Why? there we go. Yeah, that's.
Why
all
would
my
you want to
rusk.
put bread in your tea?
It's delicious.
Oh,
Like
really?
it soaks up all the tea, all the juices from
okay.
the tea, and then like you bite into it, and it's like a soft. Bread. I'm making the sound terrible. It's really delicious. though.
And if you have no teeth, it's really, really helpful.
Yes, exactly. And babies, old people, everyone can enjoy
right.
a good rusk.
Yeah, that's true. And so, okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
No, carry on. So sorry.
No.
Your podcast.
So because I think that's so interesting that your parents encouraged you to assimilate, but yet kept you growing up with a very Indian I guess,
Yes.
identity.
Yes,
But I
yes.
guess that makes sense because they're Indian, so
and
they're
that's
not
what they
gonna,
knew.
Right.
Yeah. And it's not like they were like, no, we're just going to denounce our Indian culture. That's
Right.
not what it was. They were just like, they realized living in apartheid, if you guys assimilated, if you guys, understood the white culture better, you would be able to get ahead. It wasn't about looking up to the white culture. It was
Yeah.
about just understanding that that's what would get you ahead.
Right.
Like we want our kids to get ahead. We've come to another country for them to also have opportunities. And this is one way, if we continue living through an apartheid, this is one way that they can, move forward in life.
Yeah.
So that's where it came from. It wasn't like, oh, this is a better culture. No.
Right.
It was.
And I think that also
Better
happens
chances.
when people leave their country voluntarily.
Yeah.
Right? I think people who leave their country because they have to, because they're persecuted, a lot of times they then don't want anything to do with that country
Yes.
anymore. And so they go, okay, that's not us anymore. We're
Right.
fully this new thing. But what you're talking about with your parents saying that, assimilate because the whiter, in quotes, you are, the more you can get ahead. I think that's something that I've heard, Indian and obviously as well as Black people or minorities even in this country talk about.
Yeah.
It
It makes sense, right?
Yeah, it does. I guess it does. Yeah,
Like,
it does.
white privilege exists. And
Yeah.
if we can tap into some of that, we
Right.
can, get some of it.
Let me get some of
I want
that.
to get some of that.
So do you have memories of that, of trying to like be white? Like, what does that look like? Do you know what I mean?
I struggled. That's why, like, I went to an all-white school in high school, and I struggled. And I remember a group of my friends were like, Kaneez, it's so cool. Like, we don't even see you as an Indian. We see you as one of us. And I remember at the time thinking it was such a compliment because I was trying so hard to fit in.
Right.
So it was a compliment at the time. And then I look back and I'm like, oh, that's pretty,
Racist.
yeah, pretty fucked up.
Yeah.
But also, was it a compliment? Like, I still don't know if that's a compliment or not. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, of course.
I'm still confused about how it is fucked up, but I'm like, no, but then I was trying to assimilate and I succeeded, So did I, but I'm always confused. How would you feel if someone said that?
I mean, I think that the racism is so deeply ingrained that, that kid that said it to you probably meant it as a compliment,
Correct.
right? I had the incredible privilege of going to an international school growing up here. So I had this like shock of people just being from one place later in life. And I grew up around people from everywhere all the time. So nobody had that sensibility. And also I grew up in New York.
Right,
And I think
right.
that's why people like you are drawn to New York, because it's a place where it's not about a national identity. It's like almost you have to be from somewhere else in New York to be a real New Yorker.
Exactly. I feel like New York it belongs to nobody and it belongs to everybody.
Yeah.
Like that's what the city is. Like it's built by immigrants.
Right.
Like this whole city is built on, the blood of the immigrants. I don't know. Whatever. I try to make that sound dramatic. But it's true, that's why I belong. Like as soon as you come to New York, you feel at home. Like I felt at home. Like anywhere else in America I go, I still feel like a visitor. But when I came to New York, within like a week, and this was like a few years ago, I felt like this is my home.
Well, it's also the proximity of the people, like the fact that people are so tightly packed together. You especially growing up here, or even being here for a week, you're gonna be sitting next to someone in a hijab and someone
Correct.
in a payas, and an Orthodox Jew and Chinese people and people
it.
from all over
of
the
it.
world,
All
from
of it.
everywhere. So you don't have this like fear of the other.
Yes.
Here.
Exactly.
Right. And
Because
so
everyone's the other.
right, exactly. So like a kid in New York would never have that ingrained in them, that there's us and them, sort of.
100%.
I mean, okay, that's a generalization. Of course, there's like
Yeah, yeah,
communities
no,
and
but-
pockets in New York. But so I think that kid probably meant it as a compliment,
Yeah.
but I think it's definitely,
I mean, they didn't see me for who I was, which was Indian.
right. But also it made you, it first, it's like a backhanded compliment,
I
right?
know, I
Because
know.
it first separates you out from them. Like the need
Yes.
to say that at all.
We don't see us, and we see you as one of us. So,
Yeah.
yes, I feel. You saw me as separate.
Exactly. It was
this
like,
whole
oh,
time.
this was a thing.
This was
I
a
didn't know
thing.
this was a question. I
And
didn't
then,
know we were doing this.
And then the second feeling is like, oh yay, I'm in.
And exactly, and it gives like that person the upper hand. It makes you feel like your power is taken away, right?
Like because I'm in their world, right?
Yeah,
like
and you're allowed,
and I'm allowed
because of them.
Yes,
but it's so ingrained, right? Especially in a place like South Africa and the apartheid.
It's still so prevalent, racism.
Yeah.
Like I went to India for 17 years. I came back thinking maybe things have changed.
But you're only 19.
It's
Ding.
I did an audition tape yesterday, and I looked back at the video. I was like, I look so old.
Stop! I did that too.
I look so old.
Oh, I did that too. I did. Did we audition for the same thing?
No, I didn't audition. It was like I had to just send them a video.
No, I'm joking. I don't think we auditioned for the same thing, but
what, the Indian mom?
Yeah.
Did you audition for Indian mom?
I thought I was going to get it.
You
this
might
time.
not get it.
But I looked at it and I was like, oh my God, wrinkles.
How old are you? I'm going to whisper this. I turned. When did you? Oh my God! No, wait, you don't even look that old. I know.
I mean, it's on the internet. I turned 39. Whatever. Fuck you.
Oh, when? This year?
April 15th.
Congratulations.
No,
Oh, we're the same age.
10 years ago. But that's okay.
I turned 29.
Yeah, I turned 29 too. Yeah.
I turned all the numbers.
I turned all the
Numbers
fucking
until-
numbers.
until
Yeah.
29.
No, look, ageism, goodbye. This is my thing. I'm only 5'2". I'm actually 5'1.5".
Mm-hmm.
I feel like people my size should stay the age they were when they stopped growing. I'm not adult size. I
You're
can't be
not.
almost 40 at this
Yeah,
size. That's
at this
ridiculous. I was 12 when I stopped growing. I'm
Really?
12.
You're 12.
Yeah, I stopped growing when I was 12. I think I should get to say 12. Little bit weird
Just-
for my boyfriend, but that's okay.
Is that your boyfriend?
No.
Oh, sorry.
I'm
I thought
just
it was
looking.
Mike. You
I'm
pointed
looking
at Mike.
No, I went like this to the camera.
To the camera. I
Yeah.
thought you pointed at Mike.
No,
and I was
Mike's not
like,
my boyfriend.
This is a lovely setup. Do you guys live here?
We do, yeah. We live here. This is only $9,000 a month.
That's amazing. What a deal.
This space, yeah. And they said that maybe we could upgrade to one with windows for like 800 more.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Exactly. Done.
A
There's
window,
hope.
a
There's hope.
bathroom, and a kitchen. That's
Nope.
all you need.
No.
Just a
Listen,
window.
my bathtub is in my kitchen.
For real?
Yeah.
How?
Do you want my place? By the way, are you looking for a
No,
place? Why am I doing this? I like totally forgot that we're recording a podcast. I'm moving out, but I've lived there for 5 years.
Oh.
My bathtub is in my kitchen, and I haven't had a freezer in 5 years, which people think is crazy. Do you think that's crazy?
Like what? How do you? I mean, it's actually maybe a good thing because then you just end up eating fresh food. Like that's cool. So you're not like eating frozen stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you don't. I think that.
I don't think you're supposed to eat it frozen, Kaneez.
No,
I think you're supposed to defrost it.
No,
Maybe
in my
in
culture,
South Africa. Exactly.
In my South
This
African
is this
Indian
weird
culture.
thing that South African Indians do. They just go,
it's just like biting.
okay, back
but-
to, yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, you're saying.
No, you were saying.
No, it's your podcast. I'm so sorry.
I know.
So, Lucie, how old were you?
I just bring people on so they can ask me questions about shit.
You should do that one day.
Really?
Yeah, just
You think
ask,
so?
be like, all right, go. You're interviewing me.
But what I want to know is, I read that Mtata, where you grew up.
Matata, yeah. And now called Matata, yeah.
Sorry, Matata?
Yeah.
It's not Mtata?
It was Umtata, but they changed. I think that was a colonial name. They've
I
changed to
looked
Matata.
up the pronunciation, and the woman said, Tata.
Yeah, on the internet.
On the internet.
Umtata. Yeah.
I read that it's home to the famous. I'm sorry.
No.
Home to the famous Sneezewood trees. I don't know why I think this is so funny.
I didn't
that
know that.
true?
I didn't. That's
Oh.
amazing, Lucie.
You don't know this thing? I'm sorry. I don't know why. It's so funny. Oh.
I didn't, but it's great because I didn't even know.
Oh, you don't know
I-
them? Oh, this is a lie. Thanks,
No.
Wikipedia.
No,
once
just because
again.
I don't know something doesn't mean it's not true.
Yes, it
Well,
does.
Kaneez doesn't know it exists, so it doesn't exist. Sneezewood trees.
Sneezewood
Oh, what
trees.
color is the wood? Like what?
I don't know. Maybe when the
Oh, yes, I've seen those.
We're looking
in
at a
Ontario.
screen that Mike is showing us of the Sneezewood trees that just looks like a regular old tree.
But
But
it's
maybe
very
maybe
nice.
it makes sneezing sounds.
Maybe, or
Like achoo when it rustles like the
like
the
what
leaves
is the
don't
Sleepy Hollow?
rustle.
Not Sleepy Hollow. What's the Harry Potter? The tree?
Sneezy hollow.
Weeping Hollow.
Sneezy hollow.
Oh man.
Okay. So
Thank
you
you for that research. Thank you for doing that and teaching me about Umtata. I appreciate it.
so you decided to move. Not I can't even say back to India
Yeah,
because
I was the first. It was the first time going
Right.
there. I mean,
why did you do that? Why did you decide to do that?
so my parents would take us back to India every 2 years for the Christmas
Right.
holidays, again, to be in touch with the family and our culture. So again, it wasn't like they were disowning their culture at all. They were just like, anyway. So we went to, again, like I was contemplating New York or London because I wanted to act. And I went to university. I studied. My parents were also very happy for me to be an actor because in my matric year, which is grade 12, which is my final year of school, I was in a play called Nonsense. It was an American musical that it's about like 5 nuns in Hoboken who, I know, this is what we're doing in South Africa.
This is insane.
So we're playing 5 nuns from Hoboken, right? I'm pronouncing it
New
correctly.
Jersey?
Yes, New Jersey.
Wow.
And basically the play is about in the monastery, not monastery, the convent, all the nuns died from food poisoning and they needed to raise money to bury all the nuns because they were in the freezer at the moment. So we were trying to figure out how to raise funds to...
Who wrote this play?
I forget, but it's a famous Broadway show, not Broadway.
Oh, it is?
Or whatever, like
Dan
musical.
Guggen, if that matters.
Dan Guggen.
Yes,
Dan Guggen,
that
you
rings a
sick
bell.
fuck.
Yeah, I know. We've got to clean out the closet by tomorrow morning because the Jersey Board of Health is giving us their final warning. Like, we've got to clean out, take these nuns out of
So it's a
the
musical?
freezer. It's a musical.
Wow.
And it was a comedy musical, and I performed, and it was like during my exam, or like a week before my final exams, and my mom, I was in boarding school, and my mom would call and be like, Kaneez, there's a rehearsal. And my mom was like, what the fuck? Like, this is not okay. And she was freaking out. My dad's like, listen, there's nothing we can do. Because she's like, she's writing her finals next week. And what she's like frolicking around in the theater.
Yeah.
And then she came to watch the show a week later. And it was one of those moments where I was, as lame as it sounds, but it really was one of those moments where I realized this is what I want to do. I want to be on stage. And I sang the song, and it was just one of those moments. And afterwards, my mom came up to me and she was like, you know, my love, no A is going to make me more proud than I am today. And that even after that, I know,
That's not very traditional.
not at all. My parents are not traditional at all. They're super liberal. Yeah. Or like we just like put them in their place when they're not liberal. We're like, nope, this is how we're going to do it. They're very open-minded.
That's cool.
But it was really nice. And I think also, so after that, they were also like, all right, you should do this. Like you've got the goods. You've got, so they were also like, if you want to act, you can. But I was like, no, I think I should go get a degree just in case this acting or comedy thing doesn't work out.
I love that your parents were like, what are you talking about? You have to commit to this. Don't get a degree.
You do comedy or you get out of our house. And I was like, I want to get a proper degree. I want to be an engineer. You don't bring up engineer in our household. You do comedy. Like, it was like the opposite for me.
That's
I
great.
went and studied like law and psychology, and then I thought,
Law again.
Well,
so many comedian lawyers.
right? Well, I didn't finish. I just did 3 years, and then I was supposed to do more, but then I went to India because I was like, I don't really want to do this, but I had to do something with my life. So I was like, let me just take a year off, figure it out, and then come back and decide what to study after this. So I went to India, and then I just kind of fell in love with Mumbai in particular. Again, Mumbai feels like New York.
Right.
It's built by immigrants. It feels like it belongs to nobody and belongs to everyone at the same time.
And loud and fast and chaotic. I'm
yes.
guessing I've
It's
never
gorgeous.
been.
New York is, I mean, both. I love New York and Mumbai equally. I really do. I love both those cities equally. So I went there, and then at the end of that year, I got a TV show. I did like an improv course during that year, and then the showmakers for this new satire show on a news channel saw me play a weather woman who spoke bad Hindi because I don't speak Hindi. Again, my parents never taught us
I was about
Gujarati
to
or
ask.
Hindi.
So what do you speak?
I'm monolingual, just English.
Okay.
And bad Hindi. I built a career off of that.
Okay.
So I played the weather woman who spoke bad Hindi, and like it was hilarious. And so they were like, "Can you come on the show?" And then I was like, "All right, I think I'm going to stay here and be on a TV show."
Yeah. And so you sort of were embraced there as an Indian foreigner in a way?
So that's the thing. In the beginning, I was embraced, and then when the comedy scene started, like there was a generation shift that happened at that point, and I struggled in India for them to accept me, especially as a comedian. I struggled because of this accent, because of my accent that didn't sound Indian, because of my comedic aesthetic, which was more Western. I would get a lot of, like I talk about this a lot because it was a little traumatizing in the beginning, but like YouTube comments and just, who's this bitch with an accent? Because the thing is, a lot of the kids were like, and it's true, a lot of people think they're better because they're from, from different countries, they're from like a Western country. So they come to India and they are condescending and they do think they're better. And this generation was like, no, you're not better. You're not better. They don't have the colonial hangover like the previous generation.
Right.
So they don't look up to foreigners as much.
Right.
And a lot of people put on accents to try sound cooler or above everyone else.
Yeah.
So they all thought that
I'm
that's
Madonna.
Exactly.
Sorry.
Sorry,
It's a
would you like some
Sneezewood
water?
tree.
Sneezewood tree.
Right.
So I got a lot of backlash because they thought I was trying to be foreign or trying to come across as I'm better than everyone else. So I really struggled to get, especially as a comedian, to get the audience on my side and be like, because like I feel like comedians are the voice of the people, and when I don't sound like the people, it definitely I struggled with that for many years.
It's so funny. I can so relate to that experience because after high school here, I moved to Germany because we'd go there every year.
Right. Yeah.
And
Yes.
being a German citizen, school was free for me.
Yeah.
So I was like, great, I'll go to acting school there. And I'll never forget how when we all got chosen or whatever for the class, it was like 11 of us and all the kids were German, like just German kids. Yeah. And I'll never forget this one time when I was like, oh yeah, let's go eat a hamburger or something. And I said it like, lass uns ein Hamburger essen, like German, but then the hamburger, I said the way that you're supposed to fucking say the word, right?
Hamburger?
Not hamburger. And everybody was like, oh, hamburger. You're so cool, aren't you? You're better than us, aren't you? Because you're American. And from then on, they always would make these comments like, oh, yeah, because you grew up in New York. And I was like, what are these people talking about? Why are they saying this?
Yes.
And
you really? I haven't met someone who went through a similar thing before.
Yeah,
so
it's funny. It is funny. Yeah. It's funny because it's like this thing where you're like, you're not South African, you're Indian in South Africa and South African in India.
Exactly.
Right? That thing. And this like, for me, it was always, it took me a really long time to be like, oh, this is really cool. This is my superpower,
I think I only realized that last year.
Really?
Yes. Like when I was like...
I thought you were going to say just now
like
on this podcast.
Right now. Thank you. Thank you for giving me a superpower, Lucie Paul.
Last year... When
I was like doing my visa and I was like trying to figure out like what to do here, and then I went back to South Africa, and then I realized, because when I was in India, I tried to denounce my South African culture because I was like, I'm one of you. I mean, of course I'd mention it because I had to mention that I was from South Africa, but I didn't I just completely just dismissed South Africa. I went there just to visit my parents, and I would just spend time in the family home. I didn't even explore South Africa after I left it. I didn't, not explore, but I just denounced the whole South Africa thing. And then I went back last year. I was only meant to go for 2 weeks again just to see my parents, and I ended up spending a year there.
Wow.
And I slipped back into the culture so easily. And I was like, 1 second. I'm also South African.
Right.
I am both. I am Indian and South African. And I forgot that this is such a big part of me, and I feel like the third phase in my life, I need to embrace both. I need to go to New York and embrace both of it. I can't play one side anymore because I am both of it.
Right.
And I'm a product of both those cultures.
So what do you think makes you South African? Like, what about you is South African, do you think?
Ooh.
Is that a hard question?
Yeah, I know. Because Indian be the color of my skin and, the food I eat. I mean, South African... Oh my God, it's such a hard question.
Well, maybe it's not something you can put into words. Maybe it's more of a feeling. Or
I do feel, there is maybe my accent. So okay, I'm starting off with the more like physical attributes. Maybe my accent is South African. I do understand the way the people are. Like, South Africans are not very confrontational. They don't, they're not as abrasive. And I understand that culture. And a part of me is also like that. That part of me, I was like, oh, this comes from South Africa. They're a more conservative country. I feel more conservative than Mumbai.
Really?
Yeah, than Mumbai, not India, Mumbai specifically. Very conservative country. But what makes me South African? I grew up in the Transkei. I saw the history unfold. I was part of, the history of South Africa becoming free. Like,
Right.
Like whenever, have you watched Invictus?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay, it's a good movie. Watch it, guys.
I'm sorry.
No. I just like when I watch movies like that, I feel so proudly South African because of what it's been through and, what it's come out of.
So what was that like for, what is your memory of that, especially for the place where you grew up in? So did everything change overnight there, basically?
Pretty much. Like I said, I went to an all-white school, and then we had the Democratic elections in '94 in like April, and then '95 when we went back to school, there were all these black children who had come because now everything was. It changed overnight. Like we went from a white school to like a mixed, like fully mixed school. So that kind of stuff took place where these only white areas or places now had to integrate. So a lot of integration took place in the next like 4 years, which is pretty cool to see.
Because in '94 you were already,
I was 10.
Right.
Yeah.
So you were already thinking about that type of stuff a little bit, at least, right? Like,
yeah, I was.
Were you? Did you protest? Did you watch that? Were you like?
My parents are also not they're not activists. They're not into activism as much. I mean, now I am as a person, but so we didn't do the protests and stuff. But we would have like emergencies where we would have to like, they would be like. We'd have to leave school, and there were like buses that would take us home. State emergencies were going on, and I remember the '90s. I remember watching with my dad the early morning news when they released Nelson Mandela from. I was going to say Alcatraz, Robben Island. Mixing up all of these. And I remember the Democratic elections, and I remember once just before the elections. Like this was me before the elections. I lived in a hospital campus, or my cousins did, and I would go visit them. And the NP, which was the party that was ruling at the time, they would fly over with helicopters and throw down pamphlets like that. That was not like. Littering was not a thing back then. Like no one cared about like the ecosystem.
Right.
But they would like throw down pamphlets. And so my cousins and I, we had like a team called the Dream Team. And it was like so all the Indian communities that lived in the hospital, like all the kids were friends. And so we had a little dream team. And the four of us went and collected as many flyers as we could. And then we went door to door trying to sell them for like 5 cents, I remember. To collect money to give to a charity, I remember Jenny Auntie had like a little school where she like did an after school program for like underprivileged kids, and I was like, we can give the money to her. I had such great intentions.
That's great.
So we went from door to door, and then we went to one Transkei and black family's door, and the kid was one of our friends, and she bought all these NP pamphlets for like R1, and we're like, thank you, you're supporting a great cause. And that night, her dad calls my dad and it's like, why the hell is your daughter selling like NP pamphlets? Is this like, what kind of propaganda are you guys like into? Are you trying to push, what agenda are you pushing? Making your children like sell NP and vote for NP, like all these parents saying vote for NP. My dad's like, what the hell did you do today? I was like, I collected R3 for Jenny Auntie. I remember that. It was such a tense like time.
Wow.
And they thought like my parents like sent their kids to go like, promote the NP party. Wow. It was so funny. And they were the white party at the time. So.
Right. Yeah.
So funny.
Wow, that's so funny. So when you decided to move to India after high school, were your parents... After university. Sorry. Yeah. Were your parents supportive of that? Or were they like, what are you doing? We left
They were
that
so
place.
happy
They were happy.
going back to India. They were like, she'll find a nice Indian man. Like, while they are liberal and like they are, but they also obviously want normal Indian parent things.
Right.
They were really excited that I was going back to the culture. Like, no one does that. Very few people go back to India because so many people will leave India.
Yeah.
So there's very few people will go back to India, which is also what annoyed me. I was like, I've come back to India. Like, why are you guys giving me so much crap when I've come back to my country, like my original, my ethnic country. But yeah, so I went back and my parents were like super happy about that. I did find an Indian man. And I did marry him.
Yeah.
And then I did divorce him.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Suck it, Indian man. Man. I didn't say men, just that
man. Not
man.
all men, just that man.
Are you divorced once?
Once divorced.
I'm also once divorced.
Oh my God.
Which I think,
we
listen, we have to
same
get
people?
married and divorced 3 more times to reach Elizabeth Taylor diva status.
All right.
You know what I mean?
Challenge accepted.
Let's go.
Let's go.
We'll be able to find someone on this floor, I bet.
Mike, are you married?
Hey, Mike.
Oh, there we go. Shotgun.
Oh, we're
gonna
going to get
divorce you.
divorced. Exactly. The divorce is already in
Not
there.
a long-term like situation.
Yeah, hello.
Jeez,
God.
Mike. Get with the program.
Because, you know, when you're divorced once, I'm guessing you have this experience. People usually go, "Oh, I'm sorry," when
Yeah.
you tell them,
Yeah.
and you're like, "No,
No.
I'm a man eater.
It was the best
I've
fucking
been married
decision.
and divorced 4 times. You know what I mean? Then you're a man eater.
Yes. That's not a bad plan, but I don't want to get married again. It was such a schlep.
You never want to get married again.
No, I don't want to get
You're
married
done.
again. I'm done.
No kids, no marriage.
No, I did it. It was fun. I feel like my whole life is just me playing adult.
I
I
love
was like,
that.
I did marriage for 3 years, and I'm doing New York for like. I think I'll do comedy for a couple of more years.
So you don't think New York is permanent?
It is. It is. You know what? I'm going to say it is.
Okay.
I don't want to go back to India. I think I've done everything I can in that country, and I'm so grateful for like everything that I've built there, and like the audience that I've built there. And they really do, like, it's a very niche audience, but they really genuinely love me, and I really appreciate that.
That's cool.
And they do get my comedy, and they do get what I'm doing, and I really love that. There
It's
are
a
people who
niche
get-
audience. Why do you say that?
because it is again, my aesthetic is a little bit more Western, and so the audience for that is smaller. Generally, for English comedy, the audience is smaller than for maybe Hindi or regional languages.
Right. You hosted or host?
Hosted.
And so
I did,
that's
like, 2
done
seasons.
the
Maybe
general
maybe-
fun game show.
Yay!
That
yeah.
looks amazing. I checked it out.
I
it's
loved
great.
doing that.
Yeah, that looked so fun.
was so
Is
much
that a
fun.
concept you came up with, or were you? Did you like audition to be the host?
No, it was a concept. So back in around 2014, the Indian comedy scene got onto YouTube.
Right.
Which was a really smart thing that we did. We got onto all the social media platforms early on before the influencers. So we were like the original influencers in India.
Yes.
And now the other influencers have surpassed us. But so we got onto YouTube, and so everyone was just trying things on their YouTube channels. Everyone was trying sketches and concept ideas, and it was not just stand up. We were also building our audience online, and then they would feed our live shows.
Yes.
So I came up with this idea on my own because I'm an improviser. I
Right.
love doing improv, and I built a lot of my career was about improv. It was only in the last few years that I started taking stand-up more seriously. But I was like, how do I tie in improv, but also get to do my own thing? Because otherwise, improv, you have to do it with the team.
Right. Of course.
So I was like, how do I do my own thing, but use my improv skills and my love for improv? And I thought of the General Fun Game Show. And I came up with the name. I was like, what should I call it? It's general, it's fun. Oh, General Fun Game Show.
I love it. And then you pitched it,
I
and
didn't
they
pitch
were
it,
like,
it's
"Oh,
mine."
here's your
No,
money."
I paid for everything.
Really?
I shot it, I produced it. Like the whole the beauty of it is that it's so low production.
You
But
produced
as
it.
in what? It's
Wow.
like 3-camera setup. And so, it was
Sounds
pretty.
like here.
Yeah, exactly. 3-camera setup.
But that's a big thing. I mean, that's not sort of just something to brush off like that. That's a big thing. Well, you have to book guests. You have to find them. You have to bring an audience
all our
in.
friends, everyone. It was such a collaborative. There was a time where everyone we
And
were
the
all in
studio
each other.
design?
That was a comedy club.
That was a comedy club.
So I built the because it's got like 3 what are they, podiums.
Podiums,
So
yeah.
I got the podiums made.
Yeah.
The TV already was there from before, like the venue had that. So it was just shooting at the comedy show. Like everything was super casual. There was no formal procedures for anything. Then I had one guy who edited for me, and he was like, everyone was like, it was the beginning of everything. So everything was so cheap, like no one really, and all the guests were like just other comedians.
Right.
And we were all collaborating with each other on everything we were doing. So everyone was happy to just be on each other's stuff.
That's great.
Yeah, it was a really fun time in the comedy scene in India.
So you started it, then it took off, basically.
Yeah, and then I did 2 seasons of it, and I did 2 finales, and it was always so dumb. Like it's a dumb show. Like I made up everything.
That's great. That's great.
And then I did 2 seasons, and then then the pandemic sort of hit,
Right.
and like things changed to streaming. And like I feel like there was a shift after that happened. So I'm not sure if I want to continue doing it. Maybe I'll do it in America now.
It's funny because I think a lot of people with immigrant backgrounds or who are immigrants themselves have this hustler mentality, right?
Maybe,
like
yeah.
you talk about it like it's nothing, and you're like, yeah, I produced it and I wrote it and I put it together and I had podiums made and I brought everybody in and I hosted it, and but
Yeah.
a lot of people, I think, probably also listening are like, oh my God, like I can't even imagine, even dreaming up something like that and thinking that was possible, that I could do all of that. Do you think that has something to do with your background? Is that reaching too much? I don't know. I feel like a lot of immigrants have this sort of mentality because you learn at a young age to assimilate, which is kind of a hustle too.
Correct.
You kind of have to hustle,
Maybe.
to like get people to like you, or to like watch people and observe and see how you can get in there.
Yes, correct.
You grow up with parents who had to hustle in one form or another, even if they had good jobs. So I always feel like there's this like kinship between people with immigrant backgrounds in one way or another because of this mentality.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, maybe that's just your awesome personality, and it doesn't have anything to do with being an immigrant.
No.
But this is Immigrant Jam.
I mean, just everything's bring back to immigrants.
Exactly. Do you think the Sneezewood trees are there because
from
of
another country?
immigrants?
I think the immigrants brought it over.
Why didn't you say I would put Sneezewood trees in my Immigrant Jam? We also have to talk about love juices. What are love juices?
Man.
Like cum?
Well, not necessarily. Just I feel like, sometimes I say things and I'm like, that was dumb.
Okay.
Maybe I was trying to be funny, but it's not that funny.
No, it was funny. It was funny. I just wanted to make sure it's not something I
Nobody in this
don't
room
know
laughed.
about.
No, I mean, love juice. I just like, as in just anything that,
Yeah.
any product of love.
Okay.
Anything that comes out of love.
I love it.
Yeah.
So really everything.
Everything.
Poop,
like poop,
pee, sweat.
It doesn't even have to be like an excrement. Like it doesn't have to come from the body. It could also be like, rejection.
Rejection juice.
Rejection.
Just kale. That's kale juice. I think that's kale. I'm pretty sure that's what kale is.
I don't even know what I said. I don't even know
I don't know where I am.
Love juices. Just anything
We
that comes
drugged
out.
Kaneez.
Anything that drips out of love.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anything,
I love that. Okay, Kaneez. I love little sayings, proverbs, idioms, expressions, words, things that from other languages or other cultures or other countries, because I think it says something about the mentality of the people. Now, you don't speak Hindi.
No. But I know Hindi. I know some stuff.
But maybe you do know some of these. I found some Gujarati
proverbs. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
And this is great because I don't have to say the Hindi.
The Gujarati part.
The Gujarati part. Sorry.
Do you want to try? Say the Gujarati? Or
I
is it
mean,
just gonna
sure.
be like,
If you want your fans to laugh at me.
No. Come on.
Okay. Haldar. Na Gantiye Gandhi na Tavai. I make everything sound Italian for some reason. I don't know why.
Haldar na Ganti. No, now they're going to laugh at me doing it because I'm saying it the same way as you.
No, you're not.
Gandhi na Tave. Jeez, I have no idea. That's pretty hardcore Gujarati.
Apparently, it's supposed to mean with this piece of turmeric, one cannot be Gandhi.
Cannot be Gandhi the person?
Yes.
Oh.
So meaning like...
Haldar. You see, Haldar, they could have just said Haldi, na Ganti, Gandhi na Tave. This looks like Rushud, like pure Gujarati.
Yeah.
Which is not like the spoken Gujarati.
Well, I traveled there to get these.
Oh,
for
well,
this
I
podcast.
feel like you wasted some. I feel like you shouldn't have done that. You could have just.
I've exhausted
called
my
me.
entire budget for this season.
You really could have done this over the internet. This could have been done via just a simple Google search.
Well, the
Lucie.
saying applies to me then. With
What
this
do you
piece of
think
turmeric,
you
I cannot be Gandhi.
become Gandhi.
I think this means like with that little bit of brain, you're not going to be a
Gandhi's
smarty.
a herbal medicine seller.
Oh, it's not Gandhi, the person, the Gandhi.
I know. I feel like this must have
thought-
come from before Gandhi's time.
I thought that these parentheses that say herbal medicine seller were there because it was like this is what a herbal medicine seller would say because of the turmeric.
I'm trying to decipher this, what you printed out. I feel like maybe a Gandhi. Well, let us know in the comments what Gandhi means, please.
Yeah. What's a
Please let
Gandhi?
us know
I
in
thought
the
a Gandhi. I thought Gandhi was Gandhi. I didn't know a
No, I
Gandhi
think-
was something else.
I'm sure. I think it's a herbal. So okay, well, with a piece of turmeric, one cannot become a herbal medicine seller. That makes more sense.
That makes way more sense than what I was saying. That makes way more sense. And see, that's why I am not Gujarati, and you are.
It's fair. Listen, if I had to read something out in German, you'd also be like, Kaneez.
Probably not. Okay, I have anher one. After the first one.
After the Gandhi one.
After the Gandhi one. Aduro gado chalkai gano, which apparently means a half-filled vessel will always spill more, which I think is very
Ooh,
nice.
That is a very nice. Adhuro gado chalkai gano. Wow, this is like super like you know what I'm saying? Like should. What is should in English? Like pure. This is very pure Gujarati.
Oh, it is?
It's very wow. I've never like seen half of those words, but
I
I
love
like
this.
the meaning.
Right? Me too.
Yeah,
A half-filled vessel will always spill more.
Like how why?
Meaning, well,
My glass is half full.
It says those with little knowledge will brag more and show off.
Oh,
Like someone who isn't full will always try to be making up for that. Huh?
you know.
You know what I mean?
That's why we're so down to earth.
Exactly.
Guys, we're full
We're
vessels.
just us. We're just totally full vessles.
we're
No
just-
reason
to like be
brag
like, meow,
or-
meow, 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 you know?
Look at me. I have
Look
a
at me.
Marilyn
I have a
Monroe dress.
podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have an expression or anything like that from South Africa or something that you grew up with? Something that your mom always said or your dad?
Yes. My dad always gave me really lovely, like little sayings. Like he always said, like, when you're at a crossroad, always choose the most difficult road.
That's great.
I was like, thanks for that, Dad. No,
You're like, shit.
I was like, come on, man. When is it going to get easy?
That's why you're going to America to be a couch potato.
In my one-bedroom apartment. So he's always choose the hard, which I really lived by. And I think, I mean, I've interpreted it to be like, I feel like when I take the harder route, like it's me pushing out of my comfort zone.
Right.
And I really I'm not lying to you. And again, I sound so lame. But like every time I've gone out of my comfort zone, like there's always been like something so cool there.
Mm-hmm.
Always. So like now I'm just in the habit of like pushing. It's become a habit now. It's not even like people are like, oh, you're so brave to do this and stuff. I was like, it's actually not that. I'm in the habit of like making these choices and pushing the boundaries. Like it's a muscle.
Yeah,
that
you
I've
can't help
worked.
it.
I can't. It's a muscle
Yeah.
that I've worked, and it just comes very easily now to me to do.
Yeah, I
it doesn't
hear you.
take a lot of courage and to be brave to do it. It's not. Yeah.
Okay, Kaneez.
Yes.
I do something that's called the poll questionnaire.
Is it a game?
It
Okay.
could be a game.
All right,
It could be
cool.
seen as a game.
Sure.
It's a fun questionnaire. Whatever comes to mind, first thing that comes to mind, it's a true immigrant questionnaire. Are you ready for the poll questionnaire, Kaneez Surka?
I am ready.
Okay. In a movie about the Statue of Liberty, who would you cast as the Statue of Liberty?
Beyonce.
Yes. Nice.
Yes.
I like it. If you could add one face to Mount Rushmore, whose face would you add?
Oh my God! I have to answer really quickly, right? It's like a rapid fire.
I mean, as quickly as you want to.
Oh,
but
okay. I was like, oh my God.
the longer it takes you, the more listeners we lose.
I would add Kanye West.
Whoa. Why?
Just because I feel like there needs to be a black guy there. And then who more iconic for our times than, I don't know, they'll be funny.
There's surely no other iconic black guy in our times.
I mean, of course.
Sorry, Barack Obama. You lost that one. You should have fucked Kim Kardashian.
I feel like it just suits out the times that we live in now.
I thought you were going to say you wanted to add his face because he's had a shitty few years. And like that would be a nice thing. Like throw him something.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yes, he doesn't deserve it. I just think it's very telling of our time that you'd put Kanye West on Mount Rushmore and be like, that's what 2020s were like.
That's
Random
true.
shit like this was happening all the time.
I like it.
Yeah.
And would you put like his head on a pair of Yeezys just sticking out with no body? Too expensive. All right. What's the most American thing you've ever done?
Ooh, like the most American thing I've ever done. What's an American thing?
Yeah, that's a good question.
It's a good thing. Ooh, I wore my shoes on my bed.
Oh.
I didn't take my shoes off. And
that's an American thing?
Yeah, I remember
All the
watching
Americans listening are like,
I remember watching Full House as a kid and like DJ and like
Me too.
they'd like just jump on their bed with their shoes and I'd be like, you guys aren't even taking your shoes off? That's insane.
I love that. I love that. I remember watching Full House too and just being so fascinated by these people.
Yeah.
By these Americans.
And they
I
had
was
like phones in their
wow.
bedrooms. I was like, you have phones in your rooms? That's
And their
insane.
outfits.
Like, so like, it was perfect, right?
Yeah. Did you love John Stamos? Or which one did you love?
John Stamos. Yes,
of
he
course.
was. Oh, yes.
Yeah, I do Comic-Cons now because I do a popular voice on a video game.
Oh my
and
God,
he was
congratulations.
thank you. And he was at a Comic-Con with me. And there's always like a little like makeup offering.
Yes.
Nobody uses it. John Stamos was in the makeup chair.
Wow.
Sorry.
Anyway,
Sorry to
just
blow
spilling some
your spot up.
Hollywood gossip.
Yep. Yes. Come to me for Hollywood gossip. Anything you might want to know.
Only on the Immigrant Jam.
Yeah, podcast. All right. What's the most South African thing you've ever done?
So I said shame to someone the other day. And like we use the word shame, not like, it's like you'll be like, oh, I got caught in the rain. I'll be like, oh, shame, man. Like shame. Like I feel like, it's like always a way of saying sorry. Oh, like, oh. So I said something like, I said that to the person the other day. He's like, why did you just say shame? And I was like, oh, it's like an expression. Like,
They thought it was a Game of Thrones reference. They were like, what the
No.
hell? Shame. Shame.
I was just like, oh, shame. I think that was the most recent one.
I like it. What's the most Indian thing you've ever done?
The most Indian thing I've ever done was get married to someone who came from the same religion, caste, and like sect. It was Islamic sect that I
Wow.
came from.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Boom.
His name was Mo?
No. I just said boom.
Oh, I thought you said Mo.
I was like,
I thought you went,
boom.
oh, okay. I thought you went, Mo. Wait, his name was Boom? That's a weird name. Such an idiot. Okay, cool. If you could add one amendment to the Constitution, U.S. Constitution, what would you add?
Oh my God, I feel like
You're like, I asked you if I needed to prepare anything.
and you said no.
I did.
I think the same questions are going to ask me when I become an American citizen.
This is the test.
Is this the test?
Is the test.
Are you just giving me it?
Yep. Yep. It is.
Okay. What amendment would I add?
Yes, if you could add one.
Yes, an amendment in the Constitution is like shoplifting will get you 10 years.
It does, doesn't it?
Doesn't it? I feel like that's such a wow, shoplifting is so
I
normalized.
think it depends
here.
on your skin color in this country, how long you go away for that.
Oh. Because like I love how normalized it is, and I'm like, isn't it stealing?
Who's normalizing it?
The TV shows I grew up watching. Everybody, it's like a rite of passage for Americans.
Cops was not real. No.
I feel like isn't it a rite of passage in America?
I mean, I did it. I used to do it a lot.
See,
I used to do it a lot.
okay.
too.
Oh my God.
But I think that corporations steal from us every day. What about
Fair.
that?
Okay. All right.
No. I mean, I agree. Don't commit crimes.
I mean,
that's the perk of becoming an American citizen. You can commit crimes without getting deported.
ooh, yay.
Yes.
I can't wait. I can't.
Okay, no stealing. We don't like stealing.
I
We
mean,
love
specifically shoplifting.
upright citizens.
Right.
Right?
I went there for 2 months to study improv.
Where?
Upright citizen.
Here in New York?
grade, yeah.
Before they closed down?
In 2013, I came and I did in 2015, I came and did improv courses here. That's why New York was also like.
Speaking of ripoffs. Rest in peace. What is your favorite word in
Ooh, in the world,
the world?
wobble.
Wobble?
Yeah.
I love it.
I love wobble.
That's a great word.
Right?
Yeah, because it sounds like the thing that it is.
Yes. It sounds like bubble. Like
Wobble.
my mouth bubbles. Bubble, bubble, bubble.
I love it. Wobble. Also, that's a very American word.
Is it wobble?
I feel like it's used more here than in the UK. I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe not.
It's almost like an onomatopoeia. Wobble.
It is.
Yeah.
In the UK, it would be wobble.
Wobble.
And that's not as good as wobble.
Exactly. In South Africa, it'll be like wobble.
Yeah.
And then India, it'll be like wobble.
And in Germany, it would be like wobble. And in Italy, it would be like a wobble. Okay, sorry. That's horrible. What American
great.
food would you ban if you were president?
Oh, daily sandwiches. God, oh my God, I feel like I've just been cancelled. I feel like that was an instant
You got canceled.
cancel.
No, somebody said hot dogs. I think
Oh,
that
that's
episode
worse.
hasn't come out. She'll get canceled.
Good luck to her.
Yeah.
Phew.
Deli sandwiches, huh?
Just because there's just way too much meat in there.
There's a lot of meat in
There's
there.
so much meat. Like I feel
Yeah.
like just half of the meat would suffice.
It's true.
It's just, like when I buy them, I literally take out half the meat.
But this is the beautiful thing about America as opposed to other places where this is kind of frowned upon. In America, you can go, hey, I'd like a deli sandwich. Just a little bit of meat, please.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay, good. I will
And
use
they'll
that next time.
customize your shit.
Okay, cool.
Which in other places, I don't know about India, but in Germany, they get very, they don't like when you
Yeah,
customize.
they're like, this is how we make
Yeah,
it,
exactly.
and this is how it's done.
Like, this is how you take it.
Okay.
you
Well,
know?
good to know. I good to know that I can ask.
Yeah, you can even ask for them to scoop out your bagel.
Oh,
That's a real
that's so
service-minded
cool.
nation.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm learning
They
so
will take
much.
their fingers and dig them into your bagel for you and take out the extra stuff
so you can have more filling.
so you can have more spaces. Yeah.
Cool.
Or less dough.
Yeah. Okay.
You didn't know that?
No.
Oh my God.
I
That's
didn't know that.
amazing. Yeah.
This is amazing.
Yeah. You go, hey, it's like a poppy seed bagel, toasted. Can you scoop it out, please?
Oh, cool.
They can't say
so
no.
I have to say
Don't
it like
toast.
that.
Don't toast.
Toast, always toast.
No,
Mike, I can't.
If
no,
you're making
this
the bagel, if it's a fresh bagel shop and you toast, it's worthless.
it's not true.
Fresh bagels,
Getting very mixed
Fresh
messages. here.
bagels, toasted, always
never
toasted.
toast. Never toast.
I feel like you let us know in the comments, you guys.
Let us know in the
Bagels should be
comments,
toasted
or not toasted. Okay, if you could, if you could deport one American person, who would you deport?
I mean, I would deport Kanye.
Really? After
But,
you
but
put
he
his
would
face
be
on.
on Mount Rushmore, so he would have his legacy. His legacy would be here, like
love it.
immortalized on a mountain.
Do you know where you would deport him to?
I would take him with me to India.
Ah.
I don't know why I'm so obsessed with Kanye West. Like I'm actually not. I don't know why I've mentioned him twice now. But I just find him fascinating.
This
I find
studio
him
has a way of
fascinating.
bringing out people's true essence.
Did you come into the studio and then put this up, or did you bring this with you when you moved in?
To the studio?
Yeah.
No, I brought this with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought maybe it was the studio that brought this out in you.
No,
Okay.
no, it brings out other things, but this was brought out when I was like 6. This part of me. I've had this with me for. I've had this part of me. This and we're talking about the David Hasselhoff life-sized cutout of David
Yes.
Hasselhoff sitting on a golden throne,
Right.
staring
next
at
to
us.
this.
Which leads me to my next
Sorry.
and final
I
question.
would deport Kanye West and I'd take him to India.
No, I got it.
Sorry.
That's great. No, I like that. I wouldn't feel bad for him because that would be fun
Yeah,
for him
yeah.
probably. But my last question, very important question. Do you know how I can meet David Hasselhoff?
Oh, okay. Where is he living right now?
I think Malibu.
Oh, in America.
I think so.
So if we can find out where he lives,
Yeah.
then maybe we could just drive by.
Ah,
we could go. I'm sorry, I don't know why I put myself in this place.
I love it. You're coming. That's great. I love it.
I feel like we
You
just
definitely should come.
I feel like we need to go where he lives and
Yeah.
then like just go to like places around where he lives.
Yeah.
And maybe we spend like a month in LA. So we increase the probability.
Hey,
and
are you here
chance.
for pilot season? No. We're just here to harass David Hasselhoff.
Is he on Instagram?
He's on Instagram.
Have you DM'd him?
Yes, I've DM'd him.
And what happened?
Nothing. Okay. Nothing happened.
Okay, so why don't you start a campaign on Instagram?
Okay.
And tell your followers to DM him and like make a whole thing of like, maybe that's harassment.
Yeah, exactly. And then get arrested. What happened to Kaneez and Lucie? They're in jail for harassing David at his home in
shoplifting
Malibu.
from big corporations.
Yeah, exactly.
like
Yeah,
this
I'm
podcast-
taking this Tesla. Fuck capitalism.
I feel like this podcast is like a 101 for immigrants. Like a great
I hope so.
Like a great introduction. I'm like, okay, so now I know what to go and do out there in New
I
York.
think that telling you the fact that you didn't know you could get your bagel scooped out and you learned that here was worth your entire time here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nothing else was except that.
I'm not even kidding. I am so serious. In New York City, you got to know that you can do that.
Yeah, thank
It
you.
changes everything.
All right, well, I mean, I don't even eat bagels. But yeah, no, when I do, no,
You don't eat
I mean, like, obviously,
Out.
okay.
No. You didn't know that you could scoop them out.
Yeah, that's why. Now that I know I can scoop them up, I'll eat more bagels.
Yeah.
We fixed this. We fixed this problem, guys. We fixed this.
Okay, well, that leads us to the end of Immigrant Jam, the podcast featuring the one and only Miss Kaneez Surka. Kaneez,
Thank you.
where can people find you on the social media?
The social media at Kaneez Surka on everything.
Everything.
There's
Even
Twitter.
LinkedIn?
Yeah, oh my God. I'm actually trying to like get my LinkedIn page up and running again.
Really?
Yeah, apparently you can use that as a social media platform.
Huh.
My friend like built a whole like following there.
Really?
Yeah, by putting up like status posts and jokes and
Wow.
I was like, wow. what a-
Jokes on
Yeah,
LinkedIn? I thought
exactly.
LinkedIn was the least jokey place
He
on
like
earth.
put up jokes and memes and about like corporate life, and they were loving it. They were loving it.
Wow. All right.
So catch me on my catch me. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter and my YouTube channel. Please subscribe.
Yep.
And I guess you can catch me on Street Easy and Zillow. Looking for a place. No, I
Great.
found a place. Yay!
Yep. Catch Kaneez on Instagram, Twitter, subscribe to her YouTube channel. Check out the special on Netflix,
Thank you.
Ladies Up, her shows on YouTube, and the stuff on Amazon. Slide into her DMs. Maybe you'll see her outside of David Hasselhoff's house in Malibu. Who the fuck even knows? Kaneez Surka, thank you so much for being on Immigrant Jam, the podcast. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Please rate, review this podcast, subscribe, check us out on YouTube and Spotify and iTunes and Instagram. And a big fat round of applause to Mike Albany.
Our second husband.
Our
potential.
second, third, and
third,
fourth
and
husband.
fourth potential.
Exactly. That's it. Thank you so much, and please come back next week.
If you liked what you just heard, don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, recommend to all your friends, and if you hated it, recommend it to your enemies. Thank you for listening to Immigrant Jam, the podcast with me, Lucie Pohl. Have a delicious and nutritious day.